This is a Friday in Paris, filmed by hidden camera. The streets are blocked by a huge crowd of Muslim worshippers, and it's enforced by private security. This is all illegal in France. The public worship, the blocked streets, and the private security. But the police have been ordered not to intervene. It shows that even though some in the French government want to get tough with the Muslims and ban the burqa, other parts of the French government continue to give Islam privileged status. An ordinary French citizen who was watching the Islamization of Paris decided that the world needed to see what was happening to his city. So he bought a hidden camera and started posting the videos on YouTube. His life has been threatened, and so we're concealing his identity. He uses the alias of Maxime Lepant.
They are blocking the streets with barriers. They are praying on the ground, and the inhabitants of this district cannot leave their home nor go into their home during those prayers. The Muslims who are taking over those streets do not have any authorization. They do not go to the police headquarters, so it's completely illegal.
These Muslims have been granted unofficial rights that no Christian group is likely to get under France's laïcité or secularism law.
So it says people have the right to share any belief they want, any religion, but they have to practice at home or in the mosque, synagogues, churches, and so on.
Some say these Muslims must pray in the street because they need a larger mosque, but Maxime has observed cars coming from other parts of Paris, and he believes it's a weekly display of Muslim power.
They are coming there to show that they can take over some French streets, to show that they can conquer a part of the French territory.
If France faces an Islamic future, it took a Russian to write about it. It's the best-selling novel, The Mosque of Notre Dame, 2048, a bestseller in Russia, not in France. The French publisher, Jean Robin, says the French media ignored the book for being politically incorrect.
So Islam is seen as the religion of the poor people. And so you can't say to the poor people, you're wrong, otherwise you're a fascist. That's how it goes.
The book lays out a dark future when France has become a Muslim nation and the famous cathedral has been turned into a mosque. Whether that plot is far-fetched depends on whom you ask. Muslims are said to be no more than 10% of the French population, although no one knows for sure because French law prohibits population counts by religion. But the birth rate for Muslims is significantly higher than for native French. Some Muslim men are said to practice polygamy, a charge this man faced, in some cases with each extra wife having children and collecting a welfare check.
With Islam, it's not only a problem of numbers. The problem of Islam is a problem of really principles. Is Islam a political ideology, or is it just a creed?
French philosopher Radu Stănescu is an Islamic expert who debates Muslim leaders on French TV.
It doesn't matter how many they are. The problem is the people who follow Islam are there somehow in a political party who has a political agenda, which means basically implementing Sharia and build an Islamic state.
From the 1980s until just recently, it was a social taboo to criticize or oppose Islam, and so the government and media effectively helped Islam spread throughout the country.
We were expecting Islam to adapt to France. Now it's France adapting itself to Islam.
About the veil, this Muslim says Europeans should respect Muslim dress. This woman says the veil is in the Quran, and we only submit to God and nobody else. Even if many government elites in France are in denial over Islam, the people in the streets increasingly are not. And they're becoming fed up with what they see as the growing Islamization of this country. They've started staging pork and wine aperitifs or cocktail parties in the street. They're patriotic demonstrations meant to strike back against Islam. Another national demonstration is planned for this Saturday. It looks as if a public backlash against Islam has begun. The French Parliament will debate a new burqa law this month. And this French leader has a warning for the West and for America.
We cannot accept the development of such practice because it's not compatible with the life in a modern society, you see? And this question is not only a French question. You will all have to face this challenge.
Dale Hurd, CBN News, Paris.
Now, the Islamization of American school children in our public schools. Yes, it is happening. The latest case, Southern California. One school district in San Diego has buckled under the pressure from the radical front group Council on American Islamic Relations, a.k.a. CARE, a.k.a. Muslim Brotherhood. Not only are students being taught the 5 pillars of Islam, but schools are creating Muslim safe places. Now, think about that. No more calling it Easter vacation, a.k.a. spring break. No more celebrating Christmas, a.k.a. a holiday tree. Instead, they're promoting Islam, a radical ideology that runs counter to the United States Constitution. They're teaching to our children. Joining me now on the Daily Ledger, page 5, beat Stephanie Marie. And Steph, if I had a child in that school district, that child would be gone out of the school district, and I would take my property tax dollars with that child.
Yeah, that's the case for school choice, right? Now, San Diego Unified School District and teachers will soon have calendars showing Islamic holidays. Students will also learn more about Islam during social studies. And yes, safe spaces will be created on campus for Muslim students. Now, according to SDUS, this is all a part of a multi-tiered approach to combat Islamophobia. Now, I spoke with Pamela Geller with the American Freedom Initiative, who tells me there's something far more nefarious going on here.
The Islamization of public schools has been proceeding for years. This is not happenstance. This is very deliberate. You have textbook companies that have their material on Islam vetted by Islamic groups, many tied to the Muslim Brotherhood, and they turn these lessons into dawah presentations. Dawah is proselytizing, which is a mandate under Islam, proselytizing for Islam. Children are learning the Shahada. They're not learning the Lord's Prayer. They're not learning the Shema. They're learning the 5 pillars of Islam. And it's coupled with innumerable textbooks and other material used in public schools, and it presents a very rosy and whitewashed picture of Islam while being harshly critical of Christianity and Judaism. It's not a conspiracy theory. San Diego is partnering with CARE, which was named, a terror proxy, was named a terrorist group by the UAE. They are partnering with San Diego for these safe spaces and these Muslim programs. I'd like to see what would happen if the public schools taught the children, and Muslim children, the Shema, the Jewish prayer. Just like they're teaching the Shahada. Are they teaching that gays and Christians and religious minorities are routinely subjugated, oppressed, and slaughtered? Are they teaching that there's a genocide ongoing now in the Middle East of Christians and religious minorities by these Muslim armies, the Islamic State? In Africa, you have Boko Haram, you have Al-Shabaab. I mean, we could go on and on. They're whitewashing and disarming our children in what is the gravest threat to their future. It's just that simple. Our children are being disarmed in the information battle space, and that's why every parent should be concerned. And any one of your viewers that has a child in the public school system, particularly in the 5th grade and up, why don't you pick up their history books and look at what they're teaching?